Hello, everybody, and welcome to day 2 of our virtual visits here in the Dearborn Public Schools. I'm David Mustonen, Director of Communications for the Dearborn Public Schools. Joining me, Dr. Glenn Maleko. Glenn,
Yep.
day 2, and just so everyone knows what day it is today, it is officially St. Patrick's Day today.
Oh, I
So
didn't even realize
March
that.
17th.
Okay,
So St.
wow,
Patrick's
that's right,
Day.
yeah.
I had to wear the traditional hat. It's my traditional St.
You didn't
Patrick's
remind
Day
me.
hat.
I have gear at home.
I could have brought the gear. Yeah,
Yeah.
I should have said something to you in advance.
That's all right.
That we were going to dress up.
Okay,
but,
okay. Well, usually I'm wearing my hat reading to students. So again
Again-
kind of saddened by the fact that I'm not reading with students, but that's
right.
okay. We'll make it up at some point.
Definitely.
Are
And,
you going
know,
to wear that for the rest of the show?
No, I think I'll take this off. But I
Are you
just
sure?
wanted
Should we have like a telecast vote to see?
to I think it's just important that, we're in a very serious time here. We're dealing with a very serious national emergency, international emergency, really, and people are taking steps to try to mitigate the spread of COVID-19. But I think it's also important that we have to remember that we have to live our lives too. We have to remember to step back once in a while and get away from things and enjoy what's going on in our lives. Enjoy each other's company, even though we have to keep that limited too.
Yeah,
but
sure.
we have to be able to have some fun.
Sure.
Because we are talking about a lot of very serious things as well.
Yeah. Well, I agree, because even with our crisis team, we have some very serious topics, but every now and then it's kind of nice, just the lighter side, maybe a little joke here. Again, not joking about the situation, but just, hey, we're all humans and we're all feeling it too. We're all under the pressure, and we need to, like you said, have some sort of normalcy and just kind of, as they say, those endorphins too. When you laugh, it helps your own mental state. So I appreciate that, David.
Absolutely. And we hope that everyone out there is doing the same thing as well. So, I want to jump right into one of the topics of the day. This is pretty big. We've got a lot going on with remote learning, as we're calling it. And we kind of had a big day, too. And I don't want to spoil anyone's thunder here about what took place today. But one of the people that's been involved, there are so many people involved, but one of the people who have been involved is our Executive Director of Student Achievement, is Dr. Jill Chokel. Yes. And in keeping with our safe meetings and teleconferencing and doing things remotely, we are going to have Jill join us today via our Google meetings. And she's going to join us and talk a little bit about today, right now, talk to us a little bit about the remote learning that's been going on in our district and one of the initiatives that we started today.
Well, in our crisis team today, we also had several were here, and we kept our distance, but we also had several that came in via remote learning, via the Google Hangouts.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll see if Jill will join us up here on the big monitor, and she comes. There you are, Dr. Chokel. How are you?
I am doing great. Are all the sounds working?
All the sounds are working excellent, and you're looking great.
Good, thank you.
So remote learning, it's a big part of what we've been doing, and I know you and Ms. Farage and Ms. Peterson, both the executive directors of Student Achievement. I know the three of you, along with Dr. Patterson, Mr. Patterson have been involved.
Dr. Patterson is the assessment director. There's two of them. There's two of them.
I know all of you have been really involved in this, and maybe can share a little bit about what we've laid out in the plans that we have.
Absolutely. But first, let me say that remote learning is something that we are all learning about. I cannot speak more highly of all of our teachers, our administrators, and certainly our students and parents about their efforts, even through today, regarding the efforts that have been going on in homes across Dearborn. Everyone has been stepping up and engaging in remote learning across a variety of formats. Executive Directors Farage, Peterson, and Assaili and I have been planning a consistent message to staff, and that went out to all of our teachers and our administrators last Friday, the 13th, about what the expectations are for the short-term shutdown and what we want to be able to provide for our students along the lines of enrichment. We know there are many challenges to remote learning. Certainly our learning curve as adults is part of it, but I do have to say, based on the videos, the learning plans that I have seen teachers send in, that many teachers are doing simply an outstanding job so far. Director Patterson of the Media Services Department, he and his team, along with Dr. Groover in Curriculum and Professional Development, have been working together on a long-term plan for remote learning. So the short-term plan is for everyone to continue doing what they've been doing, using colleagues for support, getting ideas from each other, and continuing to connect with their students. We know our teachers miss their students very much, but connecting with students and making them feel calm and secure as best as we can from a distance. The second part of that plan will be a longer term plan for remote learning that we will provide more information on once it is better developed and solidified. So those efforts are ongoing right now. So I know that access to technology has been part of the challenge. And while I don't want to talk any more about that part of it, I do want to say that there are successes in store and more in store for the future regarding that kind of remote learning. So teachers are in great shape. They are sharing ideas and strategies. Administrators are jumping in and reading stories to students online. There's use of video clips, and parents are picking up that partnership at home. So we are in great shape for the short time frame that we've had so far.
Can I add to some clarification? I know there's some questions going on about remote learning. You know, are students required to do certain things right away, and will they be penalized? You know, those kind of things, which we are not saying at all. We're never going to penalize students. We're going through a crisis. And then the second was, we're kind of calling right now enrichment opportunities. Now, there may be some classes and coursework, but we don't want people to feel, or students or parents to feel pressured at this point in time. That is our short term. And I can say on record, and I'll let you expand on that, Dr. Chokles, that we will never penalize anybody. And we're not at the point of saying that specific things are required for grading or anything of that nature. Can you elaborate on that, Dr. Chokles?
Absolutely. We know that as of Thursday night at 11 o'clock, we all got that message that there was this shutdown. And so we want students to continue using whatever reinforcement practices that were already in place in their classrooms as opportunities. We also know that students are also guided by their parents, as well as supported by whether or not they have technology, a
Sure.
Chromebook or a laptop or an iPad, as well as access to the internet. So we know that many families have different realities, and the capacity of families to support their children may be very different during this time. So without judgment, without penalty, we want to say everyone is going to be doing the best that they can, and we are going to move forward together.
Outstanding. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for taking a few minutes. I know it seems like, you know, schools are closed, but school is still in session. So all of us are still pretty busy running around. I know there was a lot. We're going to talk a little bit about what took place earlier this morning with the distribution of Chromebooks. We're going to talk about that, but we want to thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Taking some time out, doing some remote meeting here. I know we're going to do a lot more of this in the future. So, Dr. Chokles, thanks a lot.
I'm going to give you an elbow bump remotely.
Okay.
Remotely, all right.
Our new reality, and wish everybody, you know, safe and healthy days in the coming days ahead, because we all have to continue to work together to help our students and take care of ourselves. So thank you.
And thank you to you and the instructional services, the executives, the Dr. Groover and Mr. Patterson, and everyone who's been working hard on the online learning and curriculum areas. So thank you. More to come.
It's our pleasure. Our pleasure.
Well, and so just to piggyback on that, we did have some distribution of some Chromebooks this morning, today, at our schools. I don't know, I know you were out and about with some of the food that was being distributed.
And I went to one of the distributions. I was at Miller.
Okay.
I believe they distributed, he said, 257 Chromebooks today at Miller. I got to give a credit to our staff for that too, because it's very logistically, it was Mr. Awada, the principal, and I know it was at other locations. We published that there were 5 locations, and we have 5 more that are going to be going out, I believe 5 or 6 for tomorrow as well. You know, that was a short order. These are not just easy things where you could just click and say there's a lot of issues related to distribution, and so I want to credit, you know, again, central office, but the building staff too. Outstanding, the Miller staff. We went over there and we did get, you know, a little picture after, but we kept our distance. I was doing kind of the distance between. I have the nice wingspan I can use. But they, you know, we had volunteers there. It was well under control at the time I got there. Very positive. Again, more to come. And, you know, for us to be able to, you know, our schools, this kind of thing, we didn't get into this business even thinking we'd ever be here. And so I got to credit a lot of people, you know, in the district, at the building level, the volunteers that have come together. And I think a lot of the distributions in the specific direction that parents have questions for are going to come from the local teachers in the building. That's the best place to go for specific information regarding their children. And that was on display today for both the Chromebook distribution and the meals that were provided.
So the Chromebooks were going to be, the principals, the schools are kind of coordinating that with the parents as far as how many are needed at each school and the days that those will be distributed and things like that, from my understanding.
Correct, with central office, Mr. Patterson, because
Okay.
they have to, there's work that has to be done on each computer prior to release it to make sure that it can work outside of our network. So it's not an easy thing where you could just say, hey, take this one, take this one.
Right.
There's certain requirements that we have by law with filtering and other things that we can't just hand over the computers without having safeguards. The computers currently are not built to work outside our own network. So each computer, they need to have a specific number that they have to do some work on in order to activate it. So it's not as simple as people think, here's the Chromebook, you pick it up at the store and you go with it.
Right.
There's a lot of logistical things behind the scenes that need to happen.
And I know they were actually even wiping them all down
Yes.
too, with Clorox wipes and all the accessories
Correct, I
and
have.
things like that. There you go. So,
Yeah, I have some too.
so I know they were taking care of those kinds
Yeah,
of
we
things.
should we work
And
on yours?
we're
You know?
gonna- yeah, we
afterwards
we
will.
might need to wipe this down.
Because I don't know
after.
who else is typing
So,
on
yeah,
there.
that's right, exactly. And I know that process continues. Now, there's been members of the community who have stepped up and who have said they wanted to donate computers and things like that. I know Mr. Patterson has said that we pretty much can provide a Chromebook to pretty much every single student out there. We do, want to thank the community, welcome the community who want to provide those things for students. If they want to make donations to the district, it's easier for them to work through the Education Foundation.
Yes.
To make cash donations, and then those
Or credit card or
credit card,
check, yeah.
And then we can purchase the kinds of Chromebooks that we're already using that meet the specifications.
Correct.
And things like that. So we appreciate all of the community stepping up for those who have stepped up and wanted to donate. But we encourage you to work through the Education Foundation.
Because if they don't go through us, then they will not necessarily be able to access information that they may need down the line, however we expand this process with online learning. So that's an important aspect that was discussed today at our crisis meeting.
So the other thing that took place today was our very first distribution of breakfast and lunch. And I know you mentioned you were out a little bit there
Yes.
as well. And we posted some pictures actually too on Facebook of some of those things going on around the district. So success, I think that was very successful. Right?
Yeah, I believe it was very successful with the distribution. It was very orderly, very calm out there, and staff seemed to have everything under control. And it's the first day. I'll be honest, going into it, we didn't know. We had never done this. We said that yesterday.
Right.
And so we said there could be orderly chaos, but I didn't see that, actually. I did not see that everywhere I went. I think, we had volunteers. We had board trustees out there. We had, cabinet members out there, Mr. Murphy and Mr. Bain, and their staffs did a fantastic job.
Yeah.
Out there as well, and so
I
don't
heard
want
there
to
were
give
students
credit.
out there as
Students volunteering as
Yeah.
well. Yeah,
That's
the
great.
PTA, Nephyla Hyder and the PTA contacted me, and I got him in contact with Mr. Murphy, and then they put out a distribution list for volunteers. And then I did see the email that she sent a Google form so people can volunteer. Because the other thing is, I know people all want to help, but sometimes you get so many people coming in, help. And so we have to we got to get things moving. And so it's got to be orderly. And even though everyone wants to help, we have to have a system for that.
Right.
And so thankfully we were able to coordinate efforts with the PTA on that. And it was very helpful for traffic control. I think I ended up at 3 or 4 of the locations that were distributing food, and it was very positive.
Great. So just once again, that food distribution, it's going to take place Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. till noon. People can just come by and they just grab and go, and it's a bag and it has breakfast and lunch in it. You don't have to attend the school to pick up the food. So for example, I have a child who attends Snow Elementary. I could run by Fortson, maybe Fortson's on my way to work or whatever, or something, and I could run by Fortson and I could pick it up there. There are 6 locations: Fortson, Dearborn High, Etzel Ford, Woodworth, McCullough Eunice, and Salina Intermediate. And I believe we're thinking about maybe expanding that next week.
We may add a 7th location as well. We're looking at.
So we're looking at adding a 7th location, but those are the 6 right now: 10 a.m. to noon. Monday through Friday, and on Friday you can pick up additional lunch breakfasts for the weekend. And and if your student is not with you, that's okay too. Maybe you want to swing by, you have 3 kids at home and someone is at home watching the kids. You could swing by, pick up the lunch breakfast for all 3 of them, and then bring it home. So we want to make this as easy. It's any child under the age of 18, Dearborn Public Schools, and we want to make it easy for you to stop by and just grab and go and pick them up, so it's safe as well. And we want to make sure that people are taking advantage of that.
Absolutely. And again, kudos to the entire staff and the community for coming together. It was just real positive today. So glad we could get on that. And again, that was in short order again, because we had to get that moving. You know, governor's order came at 11 a.m. or 11 p.m. on Thursday, and as of Tuesday, we're providing lunches all throughout and breakfast throughout the district.
That's great. That's great. So this is our second day, and we'll be back in tomorrow, and we can talk about and update some more things that have been going on in the district. Right now, like we said, the 2 big are the food and the remote learning and the distribution of Chromebooks, and maybe we can talk a little bit more about that. Or maybe we can answer some of the questions that have been coming in over the past couple of days as well. So we just want to be able to provide information on a regular basis, and then, like I said, maybe next week we'll back it down a little and we won't be here every day, but we want to be able to continue to provide that.
Great. No, I appreciate this. It's and thank you, David, for your leadership as well, and your team, and Eric and Jacob behind the scenes on the video.
They do a great job.
Yeah. And can we do our normal plug here?
Oh, sure, absolutely. Yeah, we got to do there we go. So, it's all about, we got to put the students first, even remotely. Learning, we're still doing the students
Our
first.
great staff. It's staff first for students, parents first for students first, and today we showed that, and community first.
Yeah, and the community's really coming together.
Yeah,
so
thank you.
There you go.
And just to be safe here, I just have to make sure.
Oh,
we're taking precautions, and then I'll let you use one for the computer after.
I'll
But
take
again,
one
we got to
down,
lead by example.
And according to Mr. Patterson, you take these and you squeegee them a little bit to make sure they're not dripping.
Okay.
With
the computers.
Before you wipe them down, so that way it doesn't damage the keyboard at all. And you want to.
And we're not plugging a certain product. We could use Lysol or any other brand. It just happened that I had the Clorox version. So
there you go. All right, we're sanitized and ready to move on. So thanks a lot for taking a few minutes to join us. Like I said, we're going to keep doing this at least for the remainder of this week, and hopefully we're able to get a lot of good information out to everybody out there as we all work through this together as a community.